Well, I'm just fit to be tied. I am Tim. This is my brother Matt. And as always, James. And we, and today he, are Tabletop Terrors. We're going to talk about something that we're calling a session -1. It is a Kearney-fied brainstorming session for our family's home game. Stay tuned. Now, Matt was talking about something that really got me inspired, and I thought, I've been meaning to run a home game for our family for a while. I think now is the time to kind of put that in motion, and I wanted to brainstorm with you guys about what kind of campaign it should be, and kind of just, I think, brainstorm about what you want to get out of it and the kind of goals.
Yeah.
Before we started filming, you were talking about a comic book. What comic book was that?
Fear Agent.
Why do you like the comic book Fear Agent?
Oh, man. I really, really love the art, and I like the idea of it.
What's the idea of it? For people who don't know, and it's...
Man, I haven't read it in a long time.
Well, what do you remember? And it doesn't have to be...
I remember that it's a lonely cowboy from Texas who basically travels the universe, kind of, and just floats around space, finding new places with his...
AI.
Yeah, his
ship.
AI machine computer system, who is like really kind of his only friend. And they go on adventures, but just that
Tone.
Yeah, that tone,
Like
and that
a
design.
a few things that sort of it has is he would go from place to place. He usually runs into all kinds of things that are bad luck. He's not trying to find trouble, but he always does.
Right.
He never has money. He usually drinks, but it's sort of like he talks to his AI like...
and he always gets himself into situations where it's hard to get out of.
Exactly,
Right.
with kind of crazy, like aliens or like very stereotypical like aliens. Like this one has a bunch of tentacles or that one's probing
it's like
his
only
mind.
him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
nobody else would find themselves.
He's got the
in
big
these
bulbous,
situations.
like fishbowl.
Yeah, dude.
Space
Spacesuit.
helmet. Yeah.
It's very pulpy. Like, if I had to think of it, it's like it's kind of like pulp meets, like you said, Western. Almost like.
yeah. But
So-
in space.
But in space. So here's what I'm thinking. I want to kind of do something crazy here. I want to try to run this game. Why are you laughing in my
I
face?
have a booger in my nose. Like hardcore.
Oh, dude, that was the blackest booger that has ever. Don't wipe it. What are you gonna do with it?
I don't know.
Put it in that,
I
is
can
that
knock something
can?
down with it.
Put it in that can.
Go ahead.
He's gonna take a sip. from that
Forget
one.
about this. We're barely human. Welcome to the world.
Welcome to the Kearney brothers.
So my crazy idea was not for him to pull a coal miner's booger.
I tried so hard to ignore it, but you went like this.
What are you doing?
You looked right over at me, and
You
then like,
did it.
and I felt it already, and I was like, he saw it. I gotta say,
We gotta go.
I'm glad because this is HD.
Here we
All
go.
we've been doing is getting comments about the obsidian booger. You know?
Close up.
They're like, the onyx bogey. That is the actual campaign.
The Onyx
called the
Bogey.
Onyx Bogey.
That actually sounds fun. I'm not
I'm
gonna
gonna
lie to you.
love Game Master.
We're gonna
for
do. We are like, cause bogey is like, yeah, it's in English, England.
It's a bat bogey.
It's a booger, but for
It's
us,
a
it's
bogey.
like bogey. You know what I mean? Like bogey in the sky.
Bogey on
Bogey's
your
on-
6.
6 is where always the bogey is.
It's always on your 6.
I'm like, why don't they just take the 6 off the airplane?
What were you saying? Jeez.
I was saying that I want to take and set this campaign in our campaign world of Dragongrin. So I want to retrofit that concept and think, where can it live? And one of the things we've tried to do with Dragongrin is make it seem like it works together, like a real world, but make it as varied as the real world. So finding a spot where that could exist. And immediately, the region of Bismore popped into my mind. The quick Cliff's Notes is that it's Mad Max meets Numenera, which is like kind of a sci-fi fantasy role-playing game.
I thought it was that the video.
There are 33% more horse hockey in this video.
Dude, listen, it's the Numa.
Percentage.
It
There's
is,
only
though.
99% of us.
Sorry.
9.999. Yeah.
Because what's
repeating.
going on? Where is the rest of us, James?
in the ether, in the onyx boogie. It has a bogey.
The onyx bogey.
So Bismore is those things wrapped together. Imagine sort of like, or another good one. Do you remember the Draenei in World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Like how
It's
they're
fantasy, but they have tech.
Yeah, it's like they're crash landed sort of, and there are these gnomes who are more like scavengers and tech hunters.
Are there
stuff
gnomes
like
in the area of Bismore?
Yeah,
we switched back from.
Sorry. Meaning in our
world, there are scrapper gnomes.
No, that's what I just wanted to see because gnomes are very technical and technological.
So the idea of these gnomes is, in theory, they were from this other pocket dimension that they built to kind of be their Elysium, their like perfect world, but it's collapsing.
Okay.
So they came into our world and are sort of exploring it to find ways to save theirs, but they crashed. So I think a gnomish city would be like this cool crashed big ship.
They probably have really shoddy technology.
Now
everything's falling apart. Their spaceship crashed. I mean,
that's
like,
I don't know.
The gnomes are like, we got to make this better.
And then, the adventure is going to culminate in you discovering duct tape.
So am I allowed to ask?
You're allowed to ask whatever you want.
Okay, so then has the because I didn't know if it would ruin something in the game for us if there was something.
No, I think this would be kind of common world knowledge. The stuff we're talking about.
The people who crash landed, are they now inhabiting? Are they indigenous to that area now?
I'd say yeah, and I don't know how many years they've been there, but I'd say it's been like they're stuck here.
What is their race?
Gnome.
No, okay.
They can't get back, but they're stuck here. So I imagine that they've sort of repurposed some of the tech, and it's like think Mad Max.
I think another important thing to mention, though, is the rest of our world is fantasy. People ride horses, and they don't have pocket watches, and you know what I mean? Like the tech level
is... It's not steampunk.
The tech level is swords and sorcery. But specifically in Bismore, it's a little more like they know what gears are. It's a little more tech, but only there because of the people that crashed. Basically, like, because of these weird dimensions and things, there are a lot of things that are very out of place in this particular area.
Right.
So a lot of things can be found, and we haven't fleshed it out entirely, but part of the fun of this campaign would be helping flesh it out, writing stories in it that would allow us to learn more about it.
I think it's really cool because when you it seems strange and opposite, but like when you can do anything, you can't think of a thing.
Exactly.
But when you limit yourself to, okay, we only have medieval technology from X to X, like what would you be able to make with that?
Yeah.
And it's just like it kind of opens up a whole new way of thinking, and I just think that's really neat.
Yeah.
But I think it would also be really interesting if, in a strange twist of irony, that they really do have great technology. They just so happen to crash, but in them crashing, they found what they were looking for, but they're just the only ones who can enjoy it until they can grab everything around them and build it to what they had on their home planet to connect back with them.
And that's kind of the story of what they're working toward. And I would even think that there would be segments of the gnomes of Bismore who were fine where they are.
Right.
They started to really just say, okay, this is our life now. I've had maybe a family, and right. So I like to think that one of the reasons they can't get back is just good old-fashioned fuel. Something that, like you said, they're stuck in an age of sword and sorcery, so they're trying to see what they can do, but they don't have the raw materials. Like, you can have a cell phone, but if you go to a place where there is nowhere to plug it in and there's no cell tower, it is literally a paperweight or a brick, like, until you can figure out a way. So I think that the infrastructure, it's useless. The infrastructure of their technology doesn't exist in this realm.
Yeah.
So, I like to think...
But they're slowly trying.
Right.
And it's just like, man, like you look around at what we got, it's like, it definitely didn't start like this, you know what I mean? Like,
and the idea is, I think, if you're cool with this, the campaign starts relatively low level, and Bismore is based a lot around real-world Australia, so it's very dry, dusty, and to me... It'd be cool if these gnomes are always looking for valuable items, which would immediately create a treasure hunter sort of scrapper.
Yeah, did you see the latest Star Wars Episode 7?
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
We went and saw it together. All of us.
Awkward.
Well, okay. So first of all, That's fine.
First of all, I was
First
drunk.
of all, that's fine.
That's fine.
That's,
No.
I'm glad you remember our memories together.
No, I was going to say, seriously, I
jerk.
didn't remember you going, but the other thing is...
I did.
You let me borrow $20. It took me 3 months to pay you back.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Remember the
Here's the thing,
conversation
I didn't remember
after?
what movie that was. That was Force Awakens?
Yeah,
What
because we were talking.
conversations? After what?
No, that was a stupid joke he made.
Oh.
No, but I really do remember standing in my driveway after The Force Awakens talking about how it was my Star Wars movie, how it was like just one that I enjoyed.
Either way. Okay.
Anyway.
Listen, that's not
It
important.
was like, I'm the Red Ranger. Dude,
I use that example all the time.
it was for me.
But the
The movie
important
was
thing,
for me.
that question was more to establish to the viewers that we all have a common ground.
Obviously
Yes.
not.
Obviously not. So yeah, do you
This is
remember
how the
that
game's
time
gonna
we
be.
went separately to Force Awakens. I was cool. I enjoyed it, and you enjoyed it, but separately. Basically, what Rey was, the idea was she subsisted on salvaging stuff.
That is a kind of
That's
food. Ooh, the bread! I love that bread.
The idea being that is what the most roundabout way I could have possibly gotten to that. That would be what it would be like. Is there would be a community of people that like, hey, someone's willing to pay for scrap, and there's scrap everywhere. Sometimes it's dangerous to get, but let's see what we can find. Fear Agent style, where he would go and he was usually trying to make money. That's usually what he'd be doing.
And that's what I'm thinking is, and we can figure out the finer details, but one of the things you kept mentioning was like, he does it alone, and it's like, I think maybe that some of the scrappers do try to subsist alone because it's easier
To not share.
right.
To ninja loot.
But what happens if something ninja loot?
Well, ninja loot
I'm like,
ship.
need or greed on this gnomish item, and then you
Always
get
need.
I get the
Always
mage.
need.
I get the mage pants. I'm like, look at these curtains. I can't use them. Right in the auction house.
I have the need for greed, actually.
But what if something brought you all together, and because not everyone has to be a scavenger in the game, but your character could be Fear Agent, and you could just have it so that you're this sort of scavenger, and then we can ask the other players, the rest of our family, Ma wants to be a good guy scavenger.
It was very important to her that she was a good guy.
I
But
believe
do you
that.
think that would be kind of cool to start off in that landscape, that Mad Max gnome crash landed tech thing, but instead of going from planet to planet like Fear Agent, you go from unknown region to unknown region of Bismore, because it's just these desolate deserts. But I love to think, ooh, you want to make this a thing? I love to think that there used to be a civilization, so it's all buried under the sand maybe. So there's a lot of dungeon delving. Is that cool?
Yeah, in my mind, I imagine that there would have
Wait.
been tech there first.
Well, but I think we should keep it, like, geographically sound.
Well, yeah, but what is that? What?
I mean, like, is it sandy or is it mountainous caves? Like,
Australia.
Australia?
I don't know. Just pull up pictures of Australia, and I just hand wave it.
Here's the
The
thing.
Golden Coast.
Yeah, no. The important thing
Yeah,
is
they're the Golden Coast, right?
Yes, or the Cold Ghost.
the Golden Ghost is really what you would
The
say.
Golden Ghost.
So
Oh, it's freezing in
But
here.
what? Dave, what were you gonna say?
I was saying that. Well, there's sand, but there are. I'm sure there are underground areas. If there aren't of Australia, there are in Bismore. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. I'm like, you're not.
Like underground sand caves.
You're not playing. That's the thing. You're not playing a geographic surveyor.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from, but the idea is it's not all sandy, But in Australia, in the way that it's mostly brush, there aren't lush rainforests. It's like
Right.
small hills. There are probably mountains there, but just
Sure,
because
I
it's
think
like,
there
well,
should
we don't
be,
really
yeah.
know what it looks like yet. I'm sure there are mountains. There's probably a lake.
If you really did emulate it from Australia, then there should be something, not in the water necessarily, but something that kind of emulates the beauty and the danger of the coral reef.
That's a cool
yeah.
idea. Oh, dude, what if the reef was sunken tech?
Yeah, like that's one of the places.
Like
Yeah,
instead of the
that's-
reef being made of rocks.
So the important thing
That's
is,
cool.
in my mind, the only source of tech is not the crashed ship. Basically, my understanding, and a lot of things change when we talk about it. Tim and I have never really fleshed this out. My understanding of Bismore was something crashed here. People lived there. They kind of had tech, but they were in the same case. They were in the same predicament as the gnomes, and maybe they're the same gnomes. But there is a bunch of ancient stuff that some people find and don't know how to use. Like,
Yeah.
Little Mermaid. the worst example ever. But like you might find something that
Did you say a Little Merman?
The Little Mermaid,
Oh, okay, that makes way more sense. Like a dinglehopper.
like a dinglehopper. I was like,
Yeah.
It's of the light is when I'm.
I was like, that
makes way more sense.
That was
then-
like that's
And
when
it
I'm
made a
like.
reference.
I thought you were like, and someone finds a little merman. I was like,
so satisfied.
I was like, that was so close to what I actually said that I'm like, seriously, autocorrect? You couldn't figure that one out? Jeez. So, I imagine that there would be dungeons. There would be
dragons. This game is going to be just like this.
Hilarious.
So, yeah.
But I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
To me, so in our world, going way back.
He lives in his own little world.
He does, though.
You just put a little tree right here.
It's gonna be our special little bush. You see this coral reef? It's gonna be our special coral reef. Don't tell nobody about this coral reef. If you do, I'll kill you.
Wow, that got dark.
Yeah.
So
That got out of dark.
in our world, there way back, the oldest war, the first war, was between these things called the Titans and the Primordials. If you had to make it like very, very basic, it would be like, do you know the races from StarCraft, roughly?
Yeah, the Protoss.
Yeah, so it'd be like the Protoss
Zerg.
versus the Zerg, say. Except they weren't bugs, they were these like primordial like nature creatures. But anyway, imagine this big first war. Well, they populated the Earth, and I think I would love it if maybe Bismore was... They're so big, so large and prolific that I would love it if Bismore, that region, was even something like a storage area for the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
Or something where it's like, there's just...
There's a bunch of stuff.
Tons of
Basically,
stuff there.
It is a sort of frontier where, as characters, part of the story is going to be going to places no one's ever been for thousands or millions of years.
Right.
And finding cool stuff. And then the story will come
like,
from there.
Dude, man, I get ideas, and like part of me just wants to keep them and put you guys through a cool campaign.
That's fine, dude. Listen,
That's fine.
So the next step,
Then we're doing it
after-
right. If we're inspiring you to do that,
because the
We're on
next
the right
step is
track.
write
Well,
that
but
down.
I'm like torn between like actually putting all that work in and then like giving you guys the goods and letting you do it.
can I tell you a secret? Well, what were you going to say? You're going to give him an idea. You're going to give him advice.
Oh, I was gonna say there's nothing saying, like Tim even said, like, hey, him and I might switch off. If one time you were like, hey, I want to run the game, we're never gonna say no.
Well, because I just think it'd be really cool if there are two types of gnomes.
Yeah.
There were ones that were there, the Australians,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's gnomes that crash landed that are a lot like these gnomes, but not exactly. They're very different. But these gnomes had much more advanced technology, and these gnomes have the aspiration for technology. So they are drawn to them, and they kind of just converge, and then
Make one
they
super
build a giant robot that you have to fight.
That took a turn for the awesome. I was like, you're going to go to like geopolitical themes.
No, dude.
Yeah, like
It brings us right back around to the big boss fight that I'm looking for. I'm gonna rip a gnome head off of a robot.
I can
They
totally...
always make giant stuff with tiny little heads. Every single time, dude.
That's gnomist, bro.
That's not gnomist. That is, those gnomes are just really stereotypical.
That's it, dude.
If the boot,
But
if the
you're
boot
getting
fits.
it, though. Yes, all that stuff. And we can make that in the campaign.
So I just
But
think
are
that'll
you
be
down
really
with
neat.
that? Anything
Yeah,
that you
no, because the other important thing for you to know through
Oh,
this
sorry to
knowledge-
keep you awake, princess.
It's after
That
I
was a
read
really good idea.
Oh yeah, no.
We'll figure
No,
that
I'm
out.
all in.
Talk about that. I'm all in.
Are we done?
So
I am
the
done.
other important thing is that's like a rough idea, and then basically the rest of the story will be built by what the players end up doing.
Correct.
And I know that sounds weird, but it's kind of like at some point we as the players, say if Tim was running it, are gonna basically decide what we want to do. You know, that's. So I feel like that's a good place where we're like, yeah, I think that sounds great.
Yeah,
I
cool.
think that sounds like a really fun, like, even if it's like more advanced and there's like we just kind of like one hit robots or whatever, like just to kind of get a feel for it all.
Well, and I
Or,
think
like,
one of the
some,
things...
you know.
Well, I interrupted you, and I'm sorry.
No, you're all right.
But what I was going to say is one of the things that...
He never apologized to me for that.
This is because I'm never sorry. when
Fair
I do
enough.
it to James.
Fair enough.
It can be very episodic because I like the idea that it can start out...
The mouse looks like a grenade.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It does. Look at this.
I'm going to accidentally stop the recording, but it does look like a grenade.
It does.
I didn't
So-
notice it earlier.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was going to say that one of the things that would work well in this campaign is it's episodic because you can go, you can all have similar goals where it's like, hey, on this one, hey, go to this site and find blank. But you keep getting up to antics. Things keep going wrong. You keep finding things. You could stumble onto a plot.
Because that's basically how Fear Agent starts. Hey, somebody's paying for this artifact, and he gets there, and there's a tribe of aliens that want to kill him there. Right. And he's like, oh.
Or he needs a
and
part.
that Right,
yeah,
and that'll be how it is, where it's like, and tying other themes. If one of the characters is like, yeah, but I'm looking for my lost sister.
Yeah.
Well, you tie it together early, where it's like, oh yeah, well, she was last seen near these ruins that you need to go to for the artifact, and then the other, so that, and kind of just give everybody a reason to be near each other, and then bind their fates together.
So yeah, no, I think that's cool.
No, that seems really cool.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we should.
That's something we can definitely run with.
All right. And I would say start it at like level 1, so that everyone feels like they can kind of learn their characters.
Could fight like little green gnomes inside of like stilt suits.
I'm down with all of this.
I can't wait to play in a game that you run.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome. Because gnomes are all kind of steampunk, dude. They just are.
They are, and
the little green ones. You know what I mean? Because there's the little.
Little green gnomes, buddy.
Little green ghouls, buddy.
Ghouls.
I changed the joke for the context.
Milk
okay.
steak.
Milk steak.
Just put milk steak. She'll know what I mean. All right, so
little green ghouls, buddy.
Magnets. People's knees. Okay. I could just say words that don't make sense to most people.
All the time.
And that's fine. So, I think that's great. And if we don't end this video soon, we're just going to be playing out.
And we're probably just going to starve to death.
So, what do you think about all this? What campaign do you want to see James and I run for our family? Our mom's going to play. Our dad has already agreed to play. Now we got our brother Matt. Now we just need to get our brother Thomas in. But yeah, I think this will be cool. And if everyone's cool with it, I would like to set up maybe a GoPro or like the Yeti and the webcam and just like at least record the audio.
Yeah.
And maybe call it like family game night or something like that, where we do it. I think a reasonable amount of time is bi-monthly. We get together every couple months on a night, maybe a Sunday afternoon, and just game.
Yeah.
But what do you think? And we'd love to know. Give us some ideas. And again, this is our brother Matt.
Hello.
Subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you. If you enjoyed this at all and you don't want to miss updates, then subscribe below. And anything else you want to tell the nice folks?
No, I think that's it. I'm real excited to play with our family, and I hope that it goes well.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So thank you for watching, and until next time, may your dice roll high.
Shot the Fear Agent guns out.
He did.